But first, we begin with former President Trump's legal team responding to that subpoena from the January 6th committee. In a statement, one of Trump's attorneys said, quote, "We understand that once again, flouting norms and appropriate and customary process, the committee has publicly released a copy of its subpoena. As with any similar matter, we will review and analyze it and will respond as appropriate to this unprecedented action." But the committee says it has evidence the former president, quote, "personally orchestrated an effort to overturn the 2020 election." The panel is demanding the former president testify under oath by November 14th. They're also asking for documents, including Mr. Trump's communications with members of Congress and extremist groups. The panel voted unanimously to subpoena the president last week. Joining us now is CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland. Scott, specifically, what records does the committee want?
Yeah, Catherine, the committee says it wants records that involve Trump's communications with some of the key players in this investigation who've pleaded the Fifth. That includes Roger Stone. That includes Michael Flynn, the former national security advisor. That includes John Eastman, that 11th hour Trump legal advisor who allegedly came up with the plan to block the electoral count on January 6th. The committee hit some brick walls with those witnesses, and it wants records from the former president about that. But also anything involving those far-right groups we've heard so much about, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the militia groups, the one who've not only come up during January 6th committee hearings, those are groups that are being prosecuted right now by the Department of Justice. I think rhetorically, the question to ask is, what records does the committee not want from the former president? They've been emphatic. The former president is the epicenter of this enormous, unprecedented, sprawling investigation. He has been from the start, even increasingly more as we speak.
So what's the timeline for these documents and the testimony?
Yeah, the dates are interesting. They jumped right off the page at me when I read this letter submitted to the former president today. They want the documents from Trump by November 4th, 4 days before the midterm election. They want his deposition on or about November 14th. That's 1 week after the midterm election. I asked committee member Pete Aguilar if there's any heartburn from the committee about putting these dates right around a midterm election. His response was, "We'll be flexible with the dates if the former president would like us to be." And I'll note from past practice from this committee, they've been flexible with other witnesses. There have been deadlines that have been shifted and moved. The committee itself moves its own deadlines all the time. Wouldn't be surprised to see a late response be allowed if one's coming.
Also on Friday, Scott, former Trump aide Steve Bannon was sentenced to 4 months in prison for defying a committee subpoena. What evidence did they want from Bannon?
Well, he's going to get 4 months in prison, except he's going to remain free pending an appeal, which can go for months. Steve Bannon walked out of that court a free man. Steve Bannon will remain a free man until the appeals are resolved. The committee subpoena for Bannon really mirrored that they've issued to other witnesses. But Bannon, unlike the other witnesses, simply snubbed them, defied them, argued at trial through his attorney, and argued at sentencing again through his attorney that he believed was getting legal advice that executive privilege applied and that he couldn't cooperate with the panel. That argument didn't work at trial, really didn't work at sentencing, but Judge Carl Nichols, a 2019 appointee to the court, gave Bannon the 4-month sentence, but the latitude to stay free, Catherine, until the appeals run out.
Scott McFarland, thank you.